Hi, this is Curtis Sliwa. If you don't know yet, a 70-year-old guy in a red beret and a red sateen jacket from New York City. And you're watching the rebound with the famous Coach Doherty here exclusively. He just never picked me. I was always a scrub. I was on the bench. I said, hey, coach, put me in, coach. And he said, nah, you're not ready for primetime Sliwa.
Welcome to The Rebound with Coach Matt Doherty.
Welcome to The Rebound. I am Matt Doherty, and I will be your host. On this show, we explore remarkable rebound stories of resilience and recovery. We highlight the leadership qualities that emerge in the face of life's toughest challenges, revealing the strength and determination within individuals that inspire us all. With me today is someone that has been a grassroots activist in the largest city in the country, New York City. He knows the streets and the people that make up the fabric of one of the most dynamic and polarizing cities in the world. His name is Curtis Sliwa. Curtis founded the Guardian Angels in 1979. The Guardian Angels is a volunteer-based crime prevention organization in New York City. Their members are known for their distinctive red berets and white t-shirts with the Guardian Angels logo. Curtis has run for political office, including as the Republican candidate in the 2021 New York City mayoral election. He's also a radio host and is often seen on national TV outlets such as Fox News, CNN, and Good Morning America. Curtis, thank you for being on the show. Tell us, you're a household name in New York City and beyond. How did it all start?
Well, I was able to start the Guardian Angels as a night manager in Mickey D's up in the Bronx. This was 1979. If people need a period piece to figure it out, if they've ever seen the cult classic movie The Warriors, that gives them an idea. Gangs in
Yeah.
the neighborhoods, gangs on every train. And so that's what we were facing because there were no cops. The city was on the brink of fiscally going bankrupt. So a brand new mayor, a guy named Ed Koch, had to cut budgets. And one of the budgets he had to cut was having uniformed police officers overnight on the trains were eliminated. And so the criminals, they just had a field day. And so I was managing that McDonald's. And once I would close at night, we would have to take the trains back to where we lived. So I convinced everybody with a little bit of, well, let's just say I sweetened them up. Ronald McDonald didn't know he was paying him some extra money on the clock. I said, how about we patrol the trains on the way going home? And so we were being called the Burger Boys by a lot of the writers because we had the McDonald's uniform. Changed it to the look that you see now with the Guardian Angels, the red beret, the T-shirt. And we started with just 13. They all worked for me late at night. And then slowly but surely, after patrolling what was the worst of the many subway lines, the number 4 train, the Muggers Express, people began to see that having the Guardian Angels made a difference. And then we started expanding onto other subway lines. But although the people championed us, the police vilified us. They were arresting me like every other week, harassing the Guardian Angels because they thought, hey, the job security is being threatened. You know, your volunteers, this is not good. We just had a lot of our fellow officers laid off, and the mayor was very intensively negative. So it was a difficult time for us.
Wow, you just talked about some of the resistance. I'm laughing at the nickname Burger Boys. Ray Kroc, if he knew you were funding the Burger Boys, may have cut you out. But what was some of the first encounters you had with the thugs, the bad people, the bad guys on the trains? What was that like when they saw you guys coming with the McDonald's outfits on and then the red berets? What was that first encounter like when they are like, who are these guys? Are they another gang? You know, how do they know you were really the good guys?
No, it's interesting you mentioned Ray Kroc, although he was still alive. I did get fired from McDonald's because they said, we can't have vigilanteism going on. You're fired. Like they did a Donald Trump apprentice on me. You're fired. So I had to somehow make ends meet. So now, we had been known as the Burger Boys when we first went out. Now we put red berets on with the T-shirts that say Guardian Angels. And because that cult movie classic, The Warriors, was so popular, people would be on the train and they would actually use the tagline, Warriors, come out
Yep.
and play. So
Yeah.
they thought we were just another gang. They
Right.
couldn't make the separation. Oh, you're a gang. The cops are a gang. Everybody's a gang in their mind because the city, especially in the Bronx, was falling into the abyss. 1 million people alone had left New York City in the 1970s, and the Bronx was the worst. You had burned out buildings. You had gangs. You didn't have police. And the people who couldn't flee, because many did who had the wherewithal, would basically put more bars on the windows, more locks on the doors, and wouldn't go out after dark. So we had our work cut out for us. But basically, people thought we were a gang, like other gangs, except they came to say, you're a gang, but you're really like a good gang. You don't have weapons. You're always helping people. The cops are looking to harass you. You're not giving them a problem. Well, I guess you guys and gals are a good gang. And so I didn't argue it. It was futile to argue it. I said, okay, think of us as a good gang. And then people just began to accept us more and more.
You're a leader, exceptional leader. This show is all about leadership. What lessons did you learn about leadership during those tough times?
Well, my father, who was a merchant seaman for 50 years, said, Curtis, do good things and good things will come in return. After my 52nd arrest, I said to my father, who was back home on leave, I said, Dad, when are the good things going to start happening? These cops are giving me wooden shampoos. I'm getting concrete facials. When I go in the joint, the hoodlums in there are trying to give me beatdowns. I said, Dad, when are the good things going to happen? And he said, Kid, have patience. The world wasn't invented in a day. The world doesn't move at the pace you want to. But if you do good things will happen. I was programmed that way. And eventually, good things did start to happen. Rudy Giuliani was elected mayor. He established a con. He actually ordered the police, which is a paramilitary organization, you're to work with the Guardian Angels. They're the best thing that New York City offers. And he gets the best thing is I don't have to put them into the budget because they're doing all of this for free. So why are you giving these men and women a hard time? And from
Yeah.
there on, it was smooth sailing.
Rudy was a godsend to New York City. I lived in the Upper West Side from '85 to '89, and it was a great time. It's interesting. You're talking about when Koch was there and they defunded the police, and now they've defunded the police nationwide, and then you see the effects. Like, it's, to me, I'm common sense. I'm like, well, of course, if you defund the police, you're going to see an increase in crime. What is that like in New York right now with what's happened with the defunding of the police and the escalation of the crime?
Now it's a catastrophe because before with Ed Koch, he had no choice. He had to defund the police. He was under executive order because we were on the brink of fiscal dissolvement. So everything had to be cut. There was no reason to cut $1 billion out of the police budget. We took that billion, we added 4 billion, and we gave it to the illegal aliens. So stupidly, we were in much better shape fiscally. We decided not only to impair the police by taking $1 billion out of their budget, but then in a pivot and shift, spend $5 billion on the illegal aliens, some of whom were bad hombres and criminals. So this is what has really infuriated people. And we've had our work cut out for us because not only are we dealing with our local yokel thugs, we call them skells and mutts, just dedicated to committing crime. But now we have all these illegals, some of them who are organized gangbangers, mostly Venezuelans, highly organized, and they're creating mayhem. And we look at everybody like their Papa Chulo was Joe Biden. He welcomed them in. And then there was Vice President Harris. She didn't monitor them. Mayorkas, who turned a blind eye. Eric Adams, who said, I'll treat you better than any other mayor. And our governor, Hochul, said, and I'll make sure of that. And then the mayor, years later, says, what a disaster. Well, you're the one who brought him in. Now we have a new sheriff. Donald Trump has already indicated, I'm going after the bad hombres. And if you've committed crime here or in your country of origin, you got to go. And that's the policy that has to be put into effect. And as Tom Homan has said, his borders are, if elected officials or appointed officials stand in our way, the federal authorities, we have superseding authority, well, then I'm locking you guys and gals up also. And that's the way it has to be.
Yeah, accountability. That's a big leadership lesson, accountability. Explain the Daniel Penny effect and how that has impacted New York City. Daniel Penny, for the audience, was the person who stepped in and wrestled someone to the ground, ended up killing the person, and then he was on trial. How has that impacted other citizens who may now be hesitant to help somebody on a subway, like the lady who burned to death?
We call it, as you rightfully termed it, the Daniel Penny effect. It's paralyzed men and women of goodwill who normally might have jumped in and helped. So, for instance, I'll take you back. Here was Daniel Penny, former Marine, going to try to get a job as a bartender because he said, hey, I want to be a bartender because you get to talk and socialize. He did not look like your typical Marine. Surf boy, love to read, right. Backpack. That's not your normal jarhead, Yet he was a very peaceful kind of guy. And he's sitting on a subway going to the interview to try to become a bartender. And all of a sudden, he hears all hell breaking loose. This guy, Jordan Neely, emotionally disturbed for many years, living in the subway. I can tell you, if you're in control of your mental faculties and I put you in the subway for 72 straight hours, you will begin to lose it. He lost it long ago. He's threatening people's lives. He looks like he's going to do what he says. So Daniel Penny instinctively grabs him, puts him in a chokehold. I've done that dozens of times in the subway. He was assisted by two good Samaritans who helped hold Jordan Neely down. Train stopped. Cops were called. There are not enough cops. It took over 8 minutes for the police to arrive. In the interim, Jordan Neely, who is smoking K2 every day, and this stuff is bad with a capital B, must have had a negative reaction physically. Wow. And soon, on his way to the hospital, passed away when he got to the hospital. You don't blame Daniel Penny for doing an intervention. You blame the system that would allow an emotionally disturbed person to live years in the subway system, be violent to themselves and everyone else. And yet, our prosecutor, our DA, now infamous all throughout America, Alvin Bragg, decided to go after the guy who stood his ground, put together a grand jury. They indicted him, then a long jury trial. He was exonerated. So now you've seen a series of crimes, the worst of which was that poor woman who was set on fire like a human torch by a monster illegal alien from Guatemala, a pyromaniac, and nobody responded. The cops didn't even respond. Yeah. And it is probably, in the 46 years that I've been patrolling the subways as the leader of the Guardian Angels, the saddest non-reaction I have ever seen. We should all be ashamed of ourselves for what happened to that woman.
Let's go to break. And when we come back, Curtis is going to discuss how New York City can rebound. OMJ Clothing is an elite men's clothing store that provides a vast array of spectacular brands of men's lifestyle apparel for every day. Elevate your business upscale casual at OMJ. Success comes from standing out. Curtis, you were a mayoral candidate in the city of New York, and you are grassroots, literally boots on the ground. Tell us how New York City can rebound from the mess they're in.
I lost the previous election to Eric Adams. I call him the swagger man with no plan. because that's exactly it. He parties to the break of dawn, $5,000 customized suits. Now, New Yorkers wouldn't care if things were running well. They're very libertarian. But when things are not going well, they're like, what are you doing partying? What are you doing wearing $5,000 customized suits talking about swag? You got swag. So, what you really need to do is, because government has so abandoned us, you have to create competition. That's what the Guardian Angels are. I ordered the Guardian Angels all to come back into the subway after that poor woman was turned into a human torch. And boy, did it cause government to respond, because you need competition in anything you do in life. And when government is the only provider of public safety and they're not doing the job, there's no impetus for them to have to do the job. We came along and they said, oh, no, not again. This is going to make us look bad. And all of a sudden they stepped up. So my focus is government will always be a dollar short, even though we give them more money than they need and a day late on dealing with anything. So we got to get more civilian involvement, more volunteers, filling in the void. And that's where leadership comes. People have to understand, when you're a leader, you have to do 10 times more work than anybody else. If you're asking them to pick up the garbage, they better see you picking up the garbage. If I ask my members to patrol, they better see me out there, because we've had 6 Guardian Angels shot and killed in the line of duty, 3 dozen seriously injured. So they want to know this guy, who's 70 now, is willing to be down in the trenches with him. And they know I've been shot 5 times in the past, but it doesn't matter. That was then, this is now. The young huckleberries will tell you, oh, I don't want to hear no war stories. You know how bad it is now. And I say, oh, I've heard this a million times. So they have to see you, feel you, touch you. And then you got to develop leadership, 3, 4, 5 generations. Without leaders, you will not have a movement. And if it's a cult of personality, it'll disintegrate. So volunteerism is a key to filling in the voids. And we have a lot of volunteers in America doing all kinds of things. They just don't get the recognition and attention that we as Guardian Angels do. If we did more of that, we'd be a lot better off.
How many Guardian Angels are there throughout the country?
We're in 13 countries now.
13 countries.
13
Wow.
countries, 130 cities globally, 150 Guardian Angels in New York City. That's our mothership. And we are in approximately 68 other cities in America.
How do you recruit volunteers? I mean, my background's coaching basketball. It's all about recruiting talent. How do you recruit talent to the Guardian Angels?
Well, our problem is not recruiting. People come to us. The problem is you have to properly vet them.
Yeah.
Because you have a lot of people who come to you who have all the furniture upstairs and rearranged in the wrong rooms. And they're there for all the wrong reasons. So you have to really eliminate them quickly. You wish them goodwill, but you let them know this is not the right fit, the right time, the right place. And then you have to have very disciplined training, because we cannot react to verbal abuse and physical intimidation. But we're not just see something, say something. We see something, coach. We say something and we do something. So, for instance, if we have no choice but to give you a therapeutic back massage and have you suck concrete until the police arrive, so be it. I guarantee you won't be doing that any longer. And we will not have dislocated or broken a bone in your body. But it's called pain compliance. Sometimes you have no choice. Other times it's just really using your ability to talk to people, to talk them off of doing something really stupid or violent or anything that might actually be harmful to themselves and everyone else.
Are your volunteers, like, do they have 9 to 5 jobs and then come out at night? I mean, what's their everyday?
They're all volunteers. I'm a volunteer. Nobody gets paid. They're putting in a minimum of 8 hours a week. They're going to work. They're going to school. They're raising families. They're, trying to develop a career path. But we expect them to give at least 8 hours a week, 2 4-hour shifts. And if you have enough of that volunteer time, you can put together patrol schedules in which you can be out in the places you need to be. But again, nobody has to be there. Nobody forces you to be there. You're there because you want to be there. But it's our rules. You can't just show up and rewrite the rules. And that's very important that leaders set the example. And we have too many issues in our life where our leaders say, do as I say, but not as I do. We demand that our leaders actually do far more than the members are expected to do, because that's the only way as volunteers you're going to get them to come out and risk their life. Why should they? They have so many other things they could do.
So I'm an executive coach. I work with a lot of companies and in sports, succession planning. Okay, you have a starting quarterback. Are you grooming a backup quarterback because the other quarterback, the starting quarterback's getting ready to retire in a couple of years? Who is your backup quarterback?
Oh, I've got quite a few. It's sort of like I get concussed, right? And they take me out and they bring somebody off the bench. I've had 10 soft concussions in my life, 2 major ones. So that's happened a few times. Keiji Oda is our international director of operations from Tokyo. He's been with me for 25 years. I have senior leaders, men and women all over the world, who've dedicated themselves to their local chapters. We are replaceable parts. If you create a system where you can't just plug in and plug out, you're doomed to dissipate. And again, if it's a cult of personality just based on, let's say, my personality, the moment my personality is dead and buried, and which many times people have certainly wanted to achieve that, there goes the whole concept. So we've created a concept that can perpetuate itself forever as long as there is a will and a desire for people to volunteer.
Give a single piece of advice to someone looking to make a difference in their communities, what would you say?
Oh, without a doubt. One man, one woman can make a difference. Do not feel it's overwhelming. Oh, yeah, you need backup, you need people. No. I always say to people, they'll call us, they want to set up a group in a very difficult situation. And they'll say, what does it take? It takes one man or one woman who wants to make a difference. And then we can work with you. But it starts with you and it ends with you. If you're not willing to put in the work, it can never happen. We can't do it from the outside. We're not Hessians. We're not mercenaries. I trust people. And I tell everybody, even though I'm a politician, I don't trust politicians, Republicans or Democrats. I trust people. And that's something that people look at me and say, you really trust people? I say, yeah, because most people are good. If given the right tools and the opportunity, they can make change better than any politicians or any political process.
How can viewers of the Rebound get involved and support the Guardian Angels?
Oh, it's very simple. Nowadays, they make it easy. You go online, www.guardianangels.org. You see a panoply of little tabs, all the different programs we do globally, regionally, locally. Our animal welfare group, we do a lot of work in recovering animals in distress. We believe in no-kill shelters. So we go to shelters. They have actually a kill list. Sometimes people will surrender their dogs or cats or other animals and they only give them 72 days. And if nobody fosters or adopts them, they euthanize them, destroy them. We immediately come in, we find a place for them. We believe that a society that does not take care of its animals does not take care of its people. New York City is a perfect example of that.
Curtis, thank you so much for joining us on the Rebound and sharing your incredible journey. Your resilience, leadership, and passion for the community safety are an inspiration. We wish you and the Guardian Angels continued success.
And we will. We take a licking, but we always come back ticking, Coach.
Leadership is a learned behavior. We all lead in some way, shape, or form. We all deal with adversity. And when you do, I challenge you to rebound. I challenge you to learn and grow. If you would like to contact me about executive coaching or giving a keynote talk, you can reach me at dohertycoaching.com. That's DOHERTY coaching.com. Thanks for tuning in.